Hello and welcome to another Stu Balls Gaming. Today we're going to be looking at the ROG Ally running Armored Core and to see what kind of frames we can be expecting in this particular setup while gaming. For testing, I'm running a dock, the Asus dock, that has the HDMI port plugged in into a capture card for this, so then I can see the screen up above and I also have my screen down below. As far as settings that we're going to be starting out with for this particular first test, this first group of enemies, I'm going to be running at 720, which is actually closer to the Steam Deck. It's not perfect because there's a 16 by 10 ratio instead of the 16 by 9, and we are, as you can see, we have that unlocked it at 120, which the ROG Ally is capable of doing 120, and we're also doing maximum. My power profile, I've got a custom profile. It's 30 watt profile, but it also has a fan curve that's a little bit more aggressive, like between 70 and 80% fan speed. On the right hand side of the screen, you can see our frames per second and our temperature. Those are going to be some really important things while we're looking at this. This first area, there's not a ton of enemies, but we'll kind of just duck and weave in between here. So as you can see, running maximum at 720, we're getting in that high 60s-ish area in this particular environment. You have to remember, if you're actually playing the actual game though, the scenes are more complicated than this. This is very simple in this training scenario, but I wanted to keep it consistent through all the testing. So you can see we're keeping pretty good frames. So now we are going to change this. We're going to go from maximum to medium. Medium is the normal setting that I play on most of my games when I play on my ROG Ally. I think it's just a really good balance. Not necessarily on 720p, but I just like medium settings. I feel like you get, the quality is not as lost. But as you can see now, we're high 70s most of the time, but we're still right around that 73 degrees, 75 is what I've seen it spike up to. So we're still pretty good. Nobody's shooting at me as of yet, which is okay, right? 75, okay. And now we're going to switch it down to low to see if we can get closer to that 120. Of course, it's gonna adjust, so we're right around that 100 mark, which is phenomenal. It's a really good place to be if you're into a fast-paced shooter like this, but really you can get away with 60 on a fast-paced shooter is not bad. Awesome. But that temperature, if you've noticed, is held pretty constant throughout this testing. Okay, now we are going to switch over to 1080, and we are going to start on the low settings, and we should see a pretty significant frame drop from that 100. We're still above that 60, and that 60 is something that a lot of people notice, especially when they're talking desktop gaming. Mobile gaming, I feel like it's probably closer to 45 is pretty doable, but we're seeing that 75 through here, and our temperature really hasn't spiked too much. So let's change it up again. We are going to move to medium, where this is where I normally play games at, that 1080 medium settings. And as you can see here, we're floating just under 60 frames. We're 55. Just over that 50, under the 60 kind of mark. We're going to see some spikes down, maybe possibly down into the 40s, but nothing super low. But our temperature, is about that same. And now for the ultimate, what happens if you go maximum 1080, 120 hertz unlocked? What do we get? And it starts dropping down past 60, and we're down into the 40s, which, granted, when I look at this screen, I'm pretty happy with seeing 40. It's definitely playable. It's not going to make me sick. You definitely can get away with it in this particular game. still floating around that 75 degrees. It's pretty consistent for this game, which I haven't seen in all games, but this one, it's definitely one that you're gonna see that, you know, pretty consistent temperature. It just also depends on the scene you're in. Whenever you're like, you know, jettisoning it through a catapult and flying off, you might see that dip. Just as the scene, yeah, like I said, gets more complex. But, you know, being 45 frames right now, that's pretty good. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please add a like down below. If you've tried this on your ROG Ally or plan to buy an ROG Ally to play this game, put a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking. I really want to get more into this gaming testing side of things. With Starfield coming out this next week, I plan to do the exact same or similar testing. Where can it even run it? I am interested in that. So if you want to learn about Starfield and whether or not you can actually run it on ROG Ally, make sure you subscribe so you can catch more content like that. I hope you guys all have a great day, and we'll catch you in the next one.